Crimson Desert launches in a few days, and honestly there is way more to this game than what most people have seen in the trailers. So let's go through literally everything we know about it, because there are some genuinely surprising features buried in here that even people following the game closely might have missed. But first off, the housekeeping. This is an action-adventure game from Pearl Abyss, the studio behind Black Desert Online. What immediately stands out is that they built their own engine, instead of using Unreal Engine 5, which is pretty rare these days. And given how many recent games have struggled with Unreal Engine 5 optimization, that is actually a smart move. The game's world is apparently bigger than Red Dead Redemption 2 and takes around 2 hours to cross on horseback, but the developers keep stressing it's not just empty space. The game's story is straightforward. You're playing as Kliff, a mercenary whose clan gets destroyed by rebels, so you're trying to rebuild and regroup with survivors. That's the starting point, though it does apparently go somewhere else later. There is no creating your own character here. Kliff is who you play. You do get 2 other characters you can switch to later, one using firearms and one who's essentially a heavy-hitting warrior type with an axe. Each one plays totally different. That's the setup. Let's get into the actual systems. The progression here is actually pretty smart, because there is literally no experience points. You don't level up. Instead, you find these abyss artifacts from defeating bosses or simply exploring, and you then spend those to unlock new abilities and boost your health and stamina. But you can also just watch NPCs doing moves and learn them that way. If you beat a boss, you can take their signature ability for yourself. The game's combat mixes standard melee with some pretty insane moves. You can do throws, ground stomps, kicks that send enemies flying. Grabbing people and tossing them off ledges is also possible. The game has a spirit resource that gates your strong moves, and you get it back by landing hits or consuming certain food. The game does have stealth kills as well. Your camp is basically a whole base building layer. It starts small and grows into a proper settlement. As you recruit people and upgrade, you manually place buildings and objects. You can run farms, raise animals, and slaughter them for resources. Clan members get sent out on assignments to bring back crafting materials or soften up enemy positions. Trading involves loading cargo into wagons, and the economy shifts prices around based on what you're buying and selling. The game's movement and traversal has a lot of variety. Of course, there are standard horses, but also rideable wolves, raptors, and even some kind of mech suit. The flying options include a glider, hot air balloons, dragons, and possibly more. You've also got a grappling web that lets you swing between points or launch yourself forward, and you can actually transition between movement tools smoothly. The game's environmental mechanics go deeper than you would expect. The temperature is tracked in real time, based on altitude, time of day, wind conditions, and it also actually affects you. Getting too hot in the desert or too cold in mountains means you need the right gear. Rain also doesn't just disappear. It leaves puddles around for hours and turns the ground muddy. You can break most objects, furniture, walls, fences. The side content is all over. That includes fishing, competitions for shooting or racing, hunting, arm wrestling, underground fight rings, card games. There are hidden caves and ruins to explore. You can find treasure maps that actually lead somewhere. Bulletin boards in towns have requests from locals. There's also a whole crime system. You can rob people, tackle them and take their stuff. Doing this builds a bounty that tanks your reputation with whoever runs the region. It works the other way too. You can take bounties on other people and bring them in for money and reputation. The cooking lets you follow recipes or experiment with random ingredients to unlock new dishes. The game's gear is not randomized loot. Most weapons and armor are specific items you find or craft from blueprints. The game has no durability on weapons, only on gathering tools. Your armor has slots for augments that boosts your stats. The customization goes pretty far too, and you can dye every piece of armor. The game does not clutter your screen with quest markers everywhere. The map has distinct regions with different cultures. The major cities apparently let you enter every building, and the interiors are set to not be copy-pasted. The game does have a meditation system to skip time forward. Something to keep in mind, the game only has one difficulty setting. It's not designed to be too punishing though, but also not a cakewalk. Based on my research, the enemies don't scale with you, so if something's too hard, you can just do other stuff in the meanwhile. A few downsides worth knowing. The PC version has Denuvo DRM, though Digital Foundry tested the build with Denuvo and said performance was good. There is no cross-save between platforms. Frame drops can happen in really crowded battles, even on the PlayStation 5 Pro, So yes, that's basically everything relevant we know. If there is something I missed, feel free to mention it in the comments. And this sentence concludes today's video. If your time was respected, a like or comment is very much appreciated.